Hello, my amazing learners, and welcome back to the Wisdom English podcast. My name is Sarah. This week I had a conversation with one of my favorite students, and he asked me a question that I'm sure you have asked yourself many times. He said, Sarah, I've been studying English for a long time. I listen to a lot of things, and I read a lot of books, but I don't seem to be improving. He said that when he listens to different audio clips or watches a drama and tries to understand what they're saying, he may understand, but later on, he's not able to use what he learned, and he said it's frustrating. So, I want to ask you, have you ever experienced that? You put a lot of effort and time into studying English, and you see things on TV, you hear things in various conversations, but you just can't seem to use the expressions and vocabulary words like a native English speaker? And it's frustrating. I told this student, I said, you know what? I understand what you're going through. I went through the exact same thing when I was studying Spanish. Spanish is not an easy language to learn. It's a beautiful language, but it's not easy. And I helped him to understand that I also experienced the same frustrations. But in the midst of our conversation, I let him know three things that will transform his English journey. And I want to teach you those three things today. And make sure you stay with me until the very end because I'll reveal the simple secret that ties all of these strategies together and makes them truly effective. Alright, just like the student I mentioned, there are three things I told him to do, three things that must be done. You see, you want to know how to take in new pieces of information, how to process the new pieces of information, and how to remember and use the new pieces of information. So here we go. Step number 1. Learn a new word, expression, or idiom every day. Now, maybe you're like, Sarah, we kind of already know that. Oh, no. Stay with me. I'm going to explain it to you. So, here's the thing. When it comes to learning a new expression, idiom, or vocabulary word, how can you do this? First, you need to learn it from a video, a blog, a conversation, an English book, or any other natural English source. Now, notice I said natural. And why am I saying it's important to find these words and expressions from a natural source? You see, as an English learner, I'm sure you have been to many different institutes, you've had many other amazing English teachers, and you've looked at many English textbooks. But you've also noticed that sometimes what you learn in a textbook is not always what native English speakers use. Now, don't get me wrong, the textbooks are important. They are your foundation. But you get to a point where you experience the frustration my student experienced because he's not able to use the natural expressions that we as native English speakers use. That's why natural English resources are so important. So, how do you do it from a video, blog, conversation, or English book or any other natural source? There's a quote I love from Vernon Howard. Always walk through life as if you have something new to learn, and you will. This kind of realizes the fact that your English language studies are part of a journey, not to a specific destination. This journey is going to be throughout the rest of your life. Think about it. I'm still learning new things in English, and as I mentioned in a previous podcast, young people are still teaching me new expressions, new slang terms, and I'm happy to learn them. But again, I'm a native English speaker, and my journey is still continuing. So just like Vernon says, remember to walk through life and be excited to learn. So first, again, learn a new English expression, idiom, or vocabulary word. This is every day. Now, what will the results be? Here we go. You will develop the ability to use real English. In other words, your English will start to sound more natural. I heard something funny last week. I was talking about the word Gucci, right? I mentioned that I taught that also on my Instagram page. And some of you actually sent me messages, some in the comment section, and some of the students in my academy said, "Teacher, that's Gucci." And immediately my feeling changed a little bit because you use something that's naturally used in America by Americans, and my feeling changed in a good way. So it helps you to sound more natural when you get English from natural English sources. Step number 2. Teach it to 3 other people immediately. Now, after you learn something new, this step is so important. This is the key. And I told my student, I said, "Here's the deal. You're learning so many things, but you feel frustrated because you're not able to use them and you feel like your English isn't improving. Well, the middle step that's missing is that you have to teach somebody else. And maybe you're asking yourself, Sarah, I'm not a teacher. I'm a student learning from you. That is true. But when you learn something or when you see something exciting, what do you naturally do? You share it with somebody else. Basically, a viral video is that. It's something you see on TV or something you see on the internet and you think, this is so funny. Oh my goodness, my friend would love this too. And you share it with your friend. So you're actually teaching your friend about this video. So it's a natural habit of ours to tell other people something that's important to us, funny to us, or interesting to us. Do the same thing when it comes to English. So let's look at this a little bit closer. Again, teach it to 3 other people. Find 3 friends or other English learners you are connected to and tell them what you learned and explain it. Now again, you're not worrying about your grammar right now like, oh, I can't explain it properly with a full sentence. It's okay. I taught you guys Gucci, right? Explain that to a friend. It's something funny and something interesting. Explain it in your own words. Now, why is this so important? Because when a student spends time teaching what they have learned, they eventually start to understand the information more deeply and remember it. Isn't that amazing? The way your brain works is awesome. So when you literally take the time to say, okay, I learned this new expression from Sarah. Let me tell my friend, your brain starts operating in a different way because now you have to take in the information, process it, and then regurgitate or produce it again. Your brain is amazing. That's why this is so important, to teach 3 people. And you all know how much I love the rule of 3, right? So, 3 people. Again, you're going to teach the first person, maybe you're a little nervous. The second person, okay, I'm a little bit more comfortable. By the third person, you'll be saying, let me tell you about this word I learned from Sarah. Makes sense, right? Now, what are the results going to be? Here we go. The result is that you will remember more information, you will feel more confident in your English speaking ability, and you will be able to use what you learn faster in real conversations. Think about it. You learn something, right? And usually, like the student I was talking to, you learn it and you're by yourself. Maybe you write it down, but it stops there. But if you learn it and then share it with 3 people, that's 4 times your brain has had the opportunity to process it. So when you come to a situation that requires that expression or word, you're like, oh man, I'm already comfortable with this expression or vocabulary word, and it will come out in a natural way. So, let's see again how this is going to work. How can you actually share it with 3 people? So again, back to the example. This student learned Gucci from me last week. The student goes to his 3 friends and says, hey guys, guess what I just learned? Have you ever heard someone say Gucci? It's actually an English slang term that means good or nice. So I can say, that new car is Gucci. Man, I love this slang. Now, I have seen students do this actually. they'll learn something from me and be so excited that they'll share it with someone else naturally. And the students that do that are the students that remember the slang and use it later. So you may say, Sarah, I don't have friends that I can actually share it with. Well, you can find online communities, Facebook groups, or language exchange partners. There are many ways to find people to share your new knowledge with. Step number 3. Write it in your notebook. So, we have learn something new, teach it to 3 people. What's the third step? What did I tell my student, or what should you do? Here we go. Now, the third step is also very important. You need to write it in your notebook. Now, looking at this right here, how can you do that? You need to write the word or expression, the meaning, and describe where and how you learned it. You see how I'm very specific? I didn't just say write the word and write the definition. No, you need to also connect it to the situation. Connect it to the place where you saw the word, where you heard the word, or where someone used it around you. You see, because that will create a trigger for your brain. For example, the students that heard me say Gucci will remember I said Gucci during my video, the last video where I talked about my personal information, about being married, about learning new things, and learning a new language being a journey. So they have this kind of trigger in their brain. And even if you don't recognize it, your brain is awesome. So you need to put these 3 pieces of information inside of your notebook. The word or expression, the meaning, and then where you learned it. Now, why is this so important? Here's a great quote. When you write down your ideas, you automatically focus your full attention on them. So by writing things down, you actually tell your brain, hey, this right here is important. I need you to remember it. Your brain says, okay, we can remember this information. And then you say, oh, by the way, brain, here's a trigger. I learned it from Sarah's podcast where she talked about why she's not married yet. If you haven't seen that video, you can check it out. But again, you're giving your brain these triggers, and it will help you to remember the information that you're learning. Now, what will the result be? Here we go. You will be able to track your progress as you study English, and you will also be able to review what you learn each day. So again, it's important to track your progress. I think I've mentioned it to you before. Many of you have seen all of my YouTube videos, and I'm so happy. However, sometimes you may watch the videos, not take notes, and not put into practice what I've taught. It's not important to just sit and watch something or read a book. You have to go to the next level. You have to teach what you learn, and then you have to write it down. That's how your brain is able to connect and actually help you to start using what you learn. So, let's see what my notebook would look like. Here we go. Going back to my screen. So, for example, again I learned Gucci. My student spread it to 3 different friends. Then he went to his notebook and he wrote Gucci. The meaning, good, well, or nice. The source. I learned it while watching an episode of Q&A with Sarah. Now, what's going to happen for this student is, as he goes back and reviews his notes, he may say, oh man, I can't remember how to use Gucci properly. I mean, I know the meaning, but how did she use it? Well, since he wrote down the source, he can go right back to that podcast or video, and then that will provide visual triggers to help him remember the word later on, the slang term later on. Kinda makes sense, right? The final secret. Now, I really hope you enjoyed this lesson. Remember, these are the 3 things you must do every day if you want to take your English to the next level. It's not just about learning new things. You must also do what? You must teach 3 people. And you must write it down and review it after that. I'm so happy to see you all. I'm so happy that you guys want to speak English. And I'm also so honored to be your teacher. And now, for the secret I promised at the beginning, the single most important secret that ties all of these strategies together is this. Learning is not a solo activity, it's a cycle of connection. You don't just take information in, you have to let it flow through you. The cycle is this. First, you connect with the world by learning something new, input. Second, you connect with other people by sharing and teaching what you've learned, output. And third, you connect with yourself by writing it down and reflecting on it, reinforcement. When you complete this cycle of learning, teaching, and writing every day, you are not just memorizing words, you are building deep, meaningful connections with the language. And that is how you achieve true fluency. So, my challenge to you is this. For the next 7 days, I want you to try this 3-step formula. Every day, learn one new thing. Teach it to 3 people, even if it's just in a text message or an online comment, and write it down in your notebook. See how it feels to complete this cycle of learning. Please like, share, and subscribe to the Wisdom English podcast channel to watch our next videos.